Everybody is gone this Sunday, and it's just me and my acoustic guitar and a stool and a microphone, and I am on stage by myself. It's a stripped down worship experience. Or maybe you found yourself before just wanting to change things up, so you do an acoustic set. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 ideas for a stripped down acoustic worship experience. Coming up. Hey, Spencer here from leadingworshipwell.com. This is the place where we talk about how to lead yourself well, how to lead your church well, and how to lead worship well. So if you're interested in that, click subscribe down below and let's get into it, because today we're talking about stripped down worship experiences. Not like King David, but like an acoustic worship experience. Have you ever done a stripped down worship experience before, where it's just been maybe a couple acoustic guitars and maybe some cool percussion like a cajon or a djembe or a shaker or something like that? Have you ever done that before at your church? I want to hear from you. If you have, let me know in the comments below. How often do you do a stripped down worship experience? I'll talk to you in a second. Thanks for leaving your answer down below. Now, I want to share with you 5 ideas, tips for getting the most out of those Sundays where maybe your worship team members who are normally there can't be there, and it's just you and an acoustic guitar. Let's get into them. Now, I just want to start off by saying that I've basically been doing these stripped down worship gatherings for like a while now, like 8 years maybe. I've led in a lot of acoustic environments. That's kind of where the acoustic guitar tutorials that I always put out come from, is that like I lead in this environment a lot, so I've got a lot of thoughts on it. So if you're coming from a large team, or maybe just a normal sized team, and you usually have a drummer and a bassist and a couple of electrics and all of that stuff, I want to teach you the things that I've learned just leading in this context over the past decade. Really, it's probably been like 10 years now. So number 1 is to use the environment to match the atmosphere you're trying to create. Whenever you do a stripped down worship set, things are different, right? Especially if you usually have like a larger team. People are going to notice that, hey, it's just you and your acoustic guitar. It's just you and one other person, as opposed to 7 people, right? So that is a change in and of itself. But I feel like whenever that happens, we can't just function then in the same way in the whole rest of our service. We want to complement what we're doing differently in our worship set with the other things that are going on in our service. So use the environment to match the atmosphere that you're trying to create. You're trying to create a stripped down worship experience. So think about the environment you're worshiping in, and even how you're set up and what you can do differently. Like, this would be the perfect time, I feel like, to switch up your stage. And if it's just going to be 2 of you on Sunday, or if it's just going to be you, like, don't stand where you normally would stand on the stage. Like, move to the middle of the stage and maybe sit on a stool and sit there and make it a relaxed environment, and maybe do some different things on your stage to embrace this understanding that things are stripped down this Sunday. And maybe you even, like, instead of starting with a fast song like we always start with, maybe you start with a slow song. And maybe you just pick songs that, like, pick a song, like a hymn, like something super simple, and just lean in to this understanding that this is a stripped down worship set, and use the environment to match the atmosphere of what you're trying to accomplish. The second thing to do for a stripped down worship experience is to embrace the intimacy. If you're used to leading with in-ears and tracks and 70 guitars behind you, things are going to feel much more intimate. And so you can feel awkward about that and be like, oh no, it's just me up here with my acoustic guitar. Or you can understand that it's going to feel that way, and you can lean into that feeling. And instead of viewing leading worship how you usually lead it, which I don't know how you usually lead it, but if you've got a big band, like there's a certain mindset that you have leading that way as opposed to just leading with an acoustic guitar. So start thinking about leading acoustic worship as like you sitting around a campfire with a bunch of your friends. That is an intimate experience. I don't know if you've ever done that before where you're sitting around a campfire, somebody pulls out their acoustic guitar and everybody's just singing songs that they know. I think that that's what people long for, right? Like, it's cool to hear a band play, and I understand leading worship is much more than just a band playing, and I'm for large worship teams. But every once in a while, it's cool to just have those intimate experiences where it's just a guy with his acoustic guitar playing a song and everybody singing along. So embrace the intimacy of those moments. Number 3, in order to embrace the intimacy, pick songs that translate well in this environment. You probably aren't going to be doing like these dance songs that have a lot of synthesizer leads in them whenever you lead a stripped down worship experience. So pick simpler songs. And not only that, but pick songs that people know. Like, this is the perfect time to pick some of those songs that you personally probably don't enjoy the most, but they're the songs that your church sings the loudest. It's really cool whenever you have a full band and everybody in your church is singing along, but it's even cooler, even more, in my mind, I want to use the word powerful. I don't know if there's more power in the moment, but it feels more of a life-changing experience where it's just the voices of your church singing. I know you've had those experiences before where the instruments drop out and it's literally just your church singing to God. Whenever you do a stripped down worship experience, you can facilitate even more of those moments. In fact, like pretty much the entire worship portion of your service, musical worship, can be those moments where it's just you strumming along on an acoustic guitar and your church is singing. But if you want them to sing, you have to pick songs that they know. So this probably isn't the perfect Sunday to teach them a new song. Just sing Amazing Grace, right? We don't like Amazing Grace, but everybody knows it. Maybe you do like Amazing Grace, but I'm kind of tired at this point. But I still sing it at my church because people know it, and I want people to sing along. So this is the perfect time to lean in to those kinds of songs. Think about that song that you know everybody in your church knows that you don't really want to do. Do it anyways, and pick songs that translate well to those intimate environments. Number 4, understand this, that your congregation's voice is always the missing piece that you are looking for. If you go from this large 7-piece band down to you and your acoustic guitar, it's going to feel empty. It's going to feel like you're missing something. But what I've learned when I'm preparing to lead worship and things just don't sound quite right, I've learned that my congregation's voice, the people that you are leading in worship, their voices are always the missing piece to the sound that you're looking for. So if you're playing through your songs and you're not feeling it, try to factor in this understanding that, okay, I'm going to have 50 people, 200 people, 500 people, however big your church is, they're going to be singing with me. And that is where the majority of the power musically is going to come from, because it's just going to be me and my acoustic guitar, but their voices are going to be singing as well as we sing to God together, and that is going to make it feel like what it's supposed to feel like. So factor that in. If you're playing through your songs and things just don't feel quite right, just think about that piece, and that's really the piece that we want to highlight as well. So think about that. Understand that your congregation's voice is always the missing piece that you're looking for musically. And finally, number 5 is to learn from others. There have been so many churches that have done these stripped down worship gatherings now, so you can find them. I'm sure you can find them here on YouTube. Or if you want an amazing example, listen to some of the Phil Wickham sing-along CDs where it's just him and thousands of people, just him and his acoustic guitar leading thousands of people. And you can hear the power that those moments can contain and learn from him in those sing-along CDs. Those are some of my favorite albums of his. And just listen and learn. Learn from others. That's always the best way to improve as a worship leader, is to watch examples of what other churches are doing. Think about the context that they're leading in. Think about how that applies to the context of your church on a Sunday morning, and then implement what you can and level up your worship leading. Also, I guess you could learn some advanced acoustic guitar arrangements. Quick plug for that. I'll leave a link to it right here. I think I pointed the wrong way. Over here, you know where the cards are. If you want to learn a specific song, I put together a bunch of these advanced acoustic guitar arrangements that you can use in these stripped down environments to level up your guitar playing and make the arrangement sound a little bit beefier. So check that out. There they were, 5 tips for leading stripped down worship experiences. These are some of my favorite times as a worship leader, and I've heard that from a lot of other worship leaders as well. Like even like when the power goes out and people are like, well, I just led with me and my acoustic guitar and not even a sound system, and it was amazing. Like you can create those moments by choice. You don't have to wait for the power to go out to experience that. So try it. If you've never tried a stripped down worship experience before, give it a shot. Also, I want to make sure that when you do lead with your team, that you're leading them well. Maybe they're away this coming weekend and you're doing a stripped down worship service, but they're going to be back eventually. And one of the best ways to lead your worship team are through worship team rehearsals and having a great plan to lead them musically, yes, but also spiritually and relationally. And that's why I put together the worship rehearsal blueprint. There's a link to it down in the description below. You can get it completely for free. In that blueprint, I walk you through the 5 essential pieces of a worship rehearsal that you need to have in order to lead your team well so that they can lead your church well. So if you're interested in that, click the link. I almost said click subscribe. Click the link down below in the description and you can pick that up. Other than that, thanks so much for joining me. Until I see you in the next video, keep leading worship well.